Alright everyone, I don't mean to get hyper-patriotic or anything like that, but when Canada threatens to cut off the energy supply to the United States should we tariff their goods, that's kind of a hollow threat. In fact, it would play right into Trump's hand. Not short term, but longer term would actually be a good thing for the United States. I think that's pretty much the whole point. If Canada shuts off the energy supply, the United States would be incentivized to drill, baby, drill, creating jobs, ultimately lowering energy costs, and probably boosting an energy surplus, which we had before briefly under Donald Trump, actually. We were a net exporter of oil and natural gas, and we've always been, I think, a net exporter of coal, if I remember correctly, so we're doing pretty well. If we can get the environmentalist groups out of the way, we'll probably also end up being the #1 creator of solar panels and things like that, or at least would be competitive with the Chinese. We are going through an energy revolution right now. I'm a fan of certain so-called green energies. I think home solar, for example, is a good idea, mainly for economic purposes. It makes sense. If you can generate half of the energy that's needed for a home just by mounting shit on its roof, it just sort of makes sense. Wind is okay. Offshore wind, it comes along with its own problems. We've got tidal energy, we've got hydrothermal and things like that, hydroelectric, and so forth. But the big ones are still the fossil fuels. Thankfully, other than uranium mining for nuclear energy, the United States is capable of becoming effectively fully self-sufficient with regards to energy. It would take only a few short years. What I think would happen, let's say Trump enacts his tariffs on Canada. They do choose to retaliate. Right now, their prime minister might be resigning imminently, so we're going to wait and see what the political situation even is up there right now. When the premier of Ontario says, well, we've got a shot in the locker here, it's like, okay, but we've got like 20 of them. Here's the thing. He enacts the tariffs. Canada retaliates. The United States, therefore, needs to undergo an energy boom. It would really hurt for people here. Like, for instance, Vermont, I think we're reliant on a hydroelectric setup or a nuclear plant in Quebec, actually, for our electricity, for our power. It would definitely hurt. But we're capable, we're Americans. We're capable of very quickly switching things up if we need to do so. Maybe we need a little bit more chaos, actually. And we have a shit ton of oil, a shit ton of natural gas, a shit ton of coal. We do have some of our own uranium deposits. We're now finding that we have all of the materials, silicon and so forth, needed for solar. Lithium, they just found, if I remember, it was in Idaho, they just found a huge deposit of lithium, one of the largest, it was Arkansas, I think, with the lithium. In Idaho, I think it was the gallium. I can't remember which one is which, but we found a shit ton more mineral resources fairly recently. Short term, what happens is that you end up on brownout mode energy-wise in the United States. We'll have to compensate. We'll have to get it elsewhere if that's required. Longer term, though, we'll just do it our fucking selves. Isolationism writ large. If Canada wants to go toe-to-toe with a much larger economy, which it is exceptionally reliant on for trade purposes, Canada will lose. The United States will win. Our economy is far larger. Our input and our output are far larger. It's on a different order of magnitude. Canada would lose the engagement. I still see like hyper-patriotic Canadians saying weird shit about the War of 1812 even right now. Well, we'll burn the White House again. Well, yeah, I suppose you could do that right now because apparently we don't have any national security, but January 20th is steadily approaching, so, be careful what you wish for. We've been long-term allies, close trading partners, etc. If you're going to tariff U.S. goods, though, it makes sense to react by tariffing Canadian goods. It's just in our own self-interest. I have no problem with Canadians, by the way. I live a couple of hours from the Canadian border, so I don't want any fucking shit. But, it is fair. It's called fair trade. It's also called free trade. The whole idea is not to endlessly tariff goods. It's to react to tariffs from other countries to back them down, force them to remove their tariffs, or at least significantly reduce them, and then you reduce yours accordingly. And then you have more free trade. That's the whole point. As far as the energy market goes, my God, though, Canada's not going to be able to step toe-to-toe with the United States with regards to energy production. It's just never going to happen. It's not physically possible. We ran an energy surplus already for a couple of years under Donald Trump. I have no doubt that that's one of his major priorities. And there are other things that he needs to do in the first few weeks of office. A bunch of pardons. Texas is going to help him with the border, so it looks like that's back on the menu. Meat's back on our menu, boys, and things like that. But definitely an energy war is not something that either country really would benefit from. If you want to wage one, though, the United States will definitely be the winner. We'll just end up pumping out more oil and more natural gas, frack a little bit more, and we'll be just fine. Trump is likely to attempt to deregulate federal lands for energy exploration and do things like that. Hell, maybe there's a huge reservoir of natural gas in Yellowstone or something like that. It's a tourist trap anyway. The biggest problem you'd have is that they'd have to have security forces to deal with all the fucking grizzly bears and pumas and stuff like that. That's basically it. The United States is an energy juggernaut. We probably have more energy reserves than any other country in the goddamn world. Why are we not using them? There's no reason to have to deal with other countries that are going to be adversarial. This is like back in the Obama administration, when the Obama administration became adversarial towards what they deemed big oil and stuff like that, and we had to import from Venezuela. Very dirty oil that had to be heavily refined in order to even be useful. It comes from Lake Maracaibo, I believe it's called, if I remember correctly. And apparently those rigs leak all the time, and there's like a huge oil slick there, and it's only a matter of time before it gets lit on fire or something like that. We can produce our own energy. We do not need anyone else to supply it. Not only can we produce our own energy, we also are capable of exporting energy. Although I believe we should build up a massive strategic reserve, and we shouldn't be exporting it all for several years because Biden, he drained the strategic oil reserve pretty badly. That's about all. Peace out.